Hello, everybody, and of course, welcome back to another episode of XtalknIsh with your boy X. And unfortunately, not Ish this morning, but we will have myself here this morning, and we'll have, of course, everybody that's tuning in to join me today to talk about, of course, week 2 pick'ems. Of course, if you are on Facebook, please make sure you like and share our Facebook page. If you are on YouTube, please go ahead and hit the red subscribe button and also notification bell so you can be notified for shows like this one in the future. Ding. And as well, if you are on Twitter, please go ahead and check us out on our main page for our X Talking Ish page at X Talking Ish, and as well on my personal page at X_Williams AT1. Alrighty then, you know why you guys are here. Um, Again, unfortunately, Ish won't be here, at least in the beginning parts of this show. He might join us in the middle, might join us towards the end. But at the moment, you guys are stuck with me talking about this Sunday afternoon, nighttime football that we have. Of course, if you don't know the slate for this weekend, we have, of course, most of the games on this Sunday. But instead of having one Monday night football game, we actually have two. So we actually have Tennessee playing the Bills, first Monday night football game, about 10 minutes later. So you have Titans playing that first game, and then of course you have the Vikings and the Eagles playing on that second game on Monday. Um, am I complaining about it? Not at all. We'll never complain about more football, especially on Monday night when getting off that first day back to work for the week. But um, I know they usually do this on week 1. I think they changed it for this year due to 9/11 being on Monday. I'm sorry, on Sunday of last week. I think they wanted to have more teams playing on Sunday and only have one team playing on Monday. But here nor there, again, we have two Monday night football games on Monday. Hopefully, both games are going to be a decent one. I know the second game will be pretty good. The first game, Titans Bills. We'll see what happens with that. I'm not too. Let's just say I'm not too positive about that game. All right. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about some of these upcoming matchups for this upcoming weekend. Right now, we have, of course, starting off with the Jets and the Browns. This already looks like an ugly game to start off with, and to be completely honest, the Jets unfortunately could be on just a horrible first 8 games of the season. Ish and I talked about this in the off season. I know he didn't really care about anybody else's first 8 games of the season if it wasn't the Chiefs, because of course the Chiefs have a very brutal schedule. But I talked about the Jets regarding their schedule. They start off with, of course, all three teams from the all teams from the AFC North. They play the Browns. They play, of course, the Steelers next week. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens with the Jets. Pretty sure they won't be getting any slack, and just like I talked about before, I know they won't be getting any slack from my boy Ish, and I knew sooner or later he'll be popping up. Because Ish, like I was telling the crew of X Talking Ish, of everybody that's tuning in, you don't give them any slack regarding their schedule. I told them about your Chiefs and the way that they're starting off their schedule, and it's no rest for the wicked. So the Jets just have to make it do what it do. And at the moment, Ish and I, as you can see, is pretty simple in this game. Even with Jacoby Brissett starting at quarterback, the Browns should win this game. They are at home. And this also could be the first time that the Browns have started a season off 2-0 for the first time since 1993. Now, that's almost 30 years ago. Almost 30 years ago. So, yeah, a lot of teams have done it and gone 2-0. Besides the Browns, they are the last team to go 2-0 in such a long time span. Ish. I know, of course, we obviously see that you have picked them to win this game. But I also want to throw this question out there from Fractual One on YouTube. He says, do you think the Jets will at least cover the spread?
Remind me what the spread is for this game.
The spread is at 6.5, sir.
I don't think so. Joe Flacco didn't look. He hasn't really looked the part. I don't think they'll cover it.
Now, a lot of people will say that the Jets, even though they lost last week, that they don't look as bad as they usually do.
No, they didn't. They didn't look as bad as I think a lot of people thought they might be, especially with Zach Wilson being out. I think people thought they were going to look a lot worse. The team, I don't think the team is horrible, but at the same time, they still have a long way to go. They're early in their rebuild. I think they got some time before we really start taking them a little bit more seriously. I think the biggest thing to note, though, is it's going to be an interesting matchup as far as the run defense of the Jets versus the Cleveland run game, because they do currently sit the third best run defense in the league.
That's after we won. We ain't nobody takes that serious.
I'm just saying. You know, I'm trying to give some,
little positive
bit of something.
I got you.
I want to give them a little bit something so that their fans can have something to hold their hat on. I mean,
can you answer Fractual Wanda's question for him? He said maybe a little Flacco magic today.
No.
Short and sweet.
I thought about it and I was like, yeah, no, not gonna happen.
He also says the team overall is much, much better. I do agree on that. It just didn't show last week. I
mean, they played the Ravens, though. So,
and I understand that. But that's what I'm saying. Either the Ravens are just that much better, and we're going to see that in a couple of hours when they play against a good Miami Dolphins team that comes into Baltimore. We're going to talk about that shortly.
Yeah, I'm excited about that one.
Or the Jets just still that much behind. I think that is really the narrative. And again, we can't tell everything after 1 week of football.
Well, and it's hard to say because, like I said, Zach Wilson, everybody was excited about this offense and how they were going to look with Zach Wilson at quarterback. And for him to be out right now, there's not really much you can say about that. I don't know. It's rough right now for them. That defense, though, I will say this. For me, that defense, they're not missing a ton of pieces on defense. So for them to come out, they did okay against the Ravens. And, you got to respect that. They did hold them to 24 points. And only the Ravens holding them to 63 yards. That's a statement somewhat. You got to say that, right?
So especially if you're a team coming off of number one rushing team offense of last year. I mean, to hold them to only less than 100 yards. Also, that is the first time that the Jets defense have been able to hold an opponent rusher to under 100 yards in I think more than 3 seasons. So again, that's what I'm saying. The outcome is an L, and the outcome can easily say, "Oh, that's same old Jets." Well, we saw last week with the Lions. Oh, same old Lions. Lions lost. No. If you actually watch the game, these teams are getting better. They're closing the gap. They look a little bit better, in certain phases of the game. But overall, the unfortunate thing is what we do measure certain positions, teams, just the way of life is the wins and losses. And if you're not getting that W, it doesn't mean anything, unfortunately, to the casual viewer. But overall, the Jets are getting better. So let's finish up this comment right quick from Fracture Wana. He says, go Texans, go Titans, even though it's going to be a tough week for both of us. Yes, that is an understatement. Of course, the Texans get a motivated and very hungry let's ride Denver team. And the Titans are getting the Super Bowl favorite, the Buffalo Bills. And it's not going to be a pretty one for the Tennessee Titans. I'll tell you that right now. All right, before we talk about those games, let's move on to the Commanders versus the Lions. And this line at the moment is an even line. Pick 'em, of course, like we saw last week with the Browns and the Panthers matchup. Again, I thought that was interesting because pretty much came down literally to the last play of the game. I mean, that's the definition of a pick 'em. Could this happen with this game? You goddamn right it could. And this game also too could be who makes the least amount of mistake. I mean, I know that sounds obvious. That's football games, right? No, but seriously, like who's going to be the one to make that fourth quarter mistake that cost their team the game?
Hey,
like, that's what this
Carson
game is
Wentz
about.
did last week and still won the game. So
this is true. This is very true. But he also played against the London Jacks. So
hey, I'm just I'm providing
bring a little hope. Bring a little hope. I
hope.
got you. I respect it. This game, as y'all can see with our choices, is a pick 'em for us as well. I keep mine very short and sweet. Like I talked about with Lions looking a lot better. I honestly I really wanted to pick the Commanders. I feel like the Commanders can come in and win this game. I'm not saying they can't. But for the Lions to have 2 back-to-back home games starting off the season, that's rare. I don't think that really happens too often for the Lions. So for the Lions, you have to take full advantage of this. Yep. You gotta get a split. You gotta win this game. You probably could be 2-0 if you win this game, and of course was able to win last week. But that's here nor there. Was washed away last week. The Lions have collectively, they have some talent. We just have to finish. And I'm going to be looking out for this game. Like, this is a game that I won't be watching fully, but I'll be watching to see the outcome of this game because I expect the Lions to win. I picked them because besides them being at home, I do see from the inside out the changes within this organization. And I'm hoping that they do win about 6, 7, maximum, be honest with you, 8 games on the season to see this be the foundational layer for them moving forward.
Yeah, I could definitely see the Lions winning this game. They're at home. They've got a lot riding on it to be their second home game of the season starting out. And, to lose the way you lost against Philadelphia, you were still in that game pretty much towards the end. So it's definitely a better Lions team than they have been. The offense looks good under Jared Goff. Swift he was really toting the rock last week. And you got to say hats off to him. I just think that Carson Wentz and the Washington Commanders, they also have a lot riding on this game. The Cowboys we saw lost in week 1. You got the other 3 teams winning. And if you want to win the NFC East, I think you're going to have to win games like this, right? The games against these teams that you would say are, bottom half of the league teams. I do think the Lions are still a bottom half of the league team. And I think if you're Washington Commanders, you want to win the NFC East, you got to beat a team like the Detroit Lions, whether it's at home or away. And so I think that Carson Wentz and that Washington Commanders offense and then their defense as well, I think that they're going to have to go in there. They're going to make a statement. They're going to win because Philly has a game that's not a gimme this week. And you would also say that the Giants have a game that's not necessarily a gimme this week. So it would do a lot for the Commanders to come out here, win on the road against the Lions. It would be a statement to the rest of the division just to let them know, like, hey, yeah, we plan to compete this year.
I definitely agree on everything that you said there. Again, it'll be an interesting game to look forward to on this Sunday afternoon. Now, let me get to a game that's, let's be real-ish. The names are sexy in it regarding these 2 teams. If this was a matchup that happened in the mid-2000s, the 2000 and 2015, this would be a sexy matchup. But right now, it probably doesn't seem as sexy, but it's a game to be looked out for because this is not the old Patriots and this is not the old Steelers. These are 2 franchises that are, let's be real, I wouldn't say rebuilding, but reforming. They're reforming themselves and trying to change how the projection of the next 10 years for themselves. And both of them are on 2 different paths. You see the Patriots with taking Mac Jones and maybe being the guy for the next 10, 15 years, maybe being that franchise guy. And the Steelers are playing bridge quarterback to our future quarterback. But our future quarterback, if he wanted to, could step in maybe in week 2 or week 12. So we kind of have our 2 quarterback system to where if our starting quarterback went down, we're fine. Patriots starting quarterback went down. Let's be real. It might be a wrap for the Patriots this season. Other than that, like I said, for this being a helmet game, I think this game is going to be one of those nitty gritty Steeler running the rock 25 plus times type of game, even for the Patriots as well too. I think the Patriots. I think the Patriots are going to be a game. I'm sorry, it's going to be a team that's going to try to run the ball as much as they possibly can, take the ball out of Mac Jones' hand. Last week, he apparently sustained a back injury towards the end of that game that's been looked at. Haven't heard anything too much about that injury over the week. Excuse me. I'm assuming that he's fine. If it was anything much worse, I'm pretty sure they would have talked about it throughout the week to say something about, hey, his back needs to be looked at a little more, further evaluation. So I'm assuming that Mac Jones is a go. Even with the Patriots being a 3-point favorite in this game, which, to be completely honest, out of all the game lines for this week, this is the one that's a little confusing. I just don't understand how the Patriots are a 3-point favorite going into Pittsburgh when Pittsburgh just beat the AFC defending champions last week. Now, don't get me wrong. Definitely with the way you look, if you want to look at it, different ways, it definitely could have been a fluke win. Definitely was a win that probably shouldn't have, that the Steelers probably shouldn't have had. It probably was a game that, again, the Steelers was able to get away with because of playing as a team and not just playing, for the offense or just for the defense. They finished that game out on also special teams, all three phases of that game. Of course, the Minka Fitzpatrick blocked extra point attempt. So for me, this game I think should either been a even game, like we talked about with the Commanders and the Lions, or at least the Steelers with a 1-point favorite. But hey, I'm not in Vegas. I don't control the Lions. I just bet on them. So with that being said, at the moment, the Patriots are a 3-point favorite. Ish had to unfortunately step away at the moment. Let me get to the comment section right quick. My boy Fracture Wanda talked about the last matchup we was talking about, saying I got the Lions today. Wentz got lucky last week. I do have to agree with you on that one, Fracture. That's why I have to see more from Carson Wentz and the Commanders for me to say, okay, they either go in this direction or that direction. Because right now, ain't nothing changing with Carson Wentz, in my opinion. I mean, it seems as though they just continue to try to find a way to get this man an opportunity to be successful, and it is him finding a way not to be successful. So we'll figure out what happens with Carson moving forward. Fracture One also says, I believe it's time for Bill to hang him up. See, now that's an interesting comment, because hey, the talks right now are, hey, Bill, are you really this great of a coach without Tom Brady? Because without Tom Brady, I mean, if you look at your record with the Browns, and of course with the Patriots before, of course you got Tom Brady. Bill Belichick's record without Tom Brady is okay.
Hey, now stop that nonsense, man.
Here goes. If everybody wasn't tuning in before, as you can see, Ish finally joined us once again. But what I'll get you back up to speed, because you obviously came in a little late, don't know what you're talking about.
No, I know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay.
The Patriots, to me, I feel as though should not be a favorite in this game.
Not at all.
That's all I'm saying. They had a pitiful performance against the Dolphins last week. Now, don't get me wrong, it was on the road. I understand it was on the road. I understand it was against a very good defense. Top 10, probably might be top 5 this season. So a very good defense. But Mac Jones got hurt towards the end of that game. Apparently he sustained a little back injury. Still trying to figure out what's going on with that. And nobody knows who the hell calling plays over there in New England.
Well, yeah, and I was going to say that the offense doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all. It doesn't matter if Mac Jones is there or not. That offense doesn't look good. The play calling doesn't look that great. It looks like we don't know what we're trying to do, what our identity is. We don't know who our number one receiver is. There's just too many question marks for the Patriots to be a favorite, period. The Steelers, to me, this is a little disrespectful to the Steelers, a team that went into Cincinnati and beat the defending AFC championship Bengals. So I mean, what are we talking about here?
I mean,
Why would we have? Why would we have?
Hey, you're literally reiterating everything I just said before you walk back in.
I
No,
mean,
you're right. No, you're right.
But when I came back in, you were having some Belichick slander going on, and I don't want to hear the Belichick slander. All right, like okay, yeah, I understand, whatever, whatnot. It's Mac Jones, man. It's Mac Jones.
Let me get to this comment right quick for Fracture Wanda because it's very interesting. He says, it was all Brady, in my opinion. They had all those great players because they wanted to play with him. Same thing happening in Kansas City. I
think it's a little different. Andy Reid had gone to a Super Bowl without a Patrick Mahomes. He had gone to the NFC Championship a number of years without Patrick Mahomes. So I would say Patrick Mahomes is a once in a generation talent, but Andy Reid also is a great scheme and play caller. I think if you give Andy Reid even a Deshaun Watson who went right after him, I think they'd be winning some championships. I think that'd be a really good team. So I mean,
give him a Josh Allen. Oh yeah,
I think it's apples to oranges because Bill Belichick really he didn't show anything without Tommy, and he hasn't been able to do anything without Tommy since. Now, granted, one could say you have to have better than a middle of the road quarterback to win a Super Bowl. And are we really thinking Mac Jones is better than the middle of the road quarterback? I don't even know if he's the middle of the road.
Patriots do.
Do they? Or are they just trying to hype?
They drafted him in the first round.
Okay. They had no choice, bro.
Okay. You had plenty of choice. You had all the little players on the draft board. You went ahead and got Mac Jones first round.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay. Anywho, we'll see what happens with this game. Again, I got the Steelers on that one. I
don't see the Patriots winning that.
The only reason why, again, I see the Patriots are your favorite again in Vegas is because the loss of TJ Watt. Najee Harris should be good to go. So I don't see why the Steelers shouldn't be favored that game. But again, that's here nor there. Fracture also says best young bridge quarterback in the league. Like I said last week, you did say that last week.
Bridge to what though?
To the next one, whoever the next quarterback is, obviously. All right, now this matchup could be the quarterback for the Dolphins could be a bridge quarterback for the Ravens, depending on what happens after this season, because it is some interesting stuff going on with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens organization, especially with the most recent news coming out of that camp. Before we even talk about the game, let's just talk about this whole situation with Lamar Jackson and the organization, because I'm not even a Ravens fan. I'm Lamar Jackson ongoer. I watch, of course, his games. I think he's a great athlete. He's a hell of a guy off the field. Never been a hater. Will be a hater on Lamar Jackson. I just want him to be a better passer inside the pocket. That's all I care about, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens not to get a deal done is, to me, I don't even think it's about the guaranteed money, about the Ravens not offering what quote unquote not enough guaranteed money. For me, the bigger part of the story are the three wish list teams that Lamar Jackson wishes to go to if he does get traded, right? And out of those three teams, you have, of course, obviously the Miami Dolphins. You have the Detroit Lions, which surprised me. And also he has, and if you don't mind reminding me, Ish, because I definitely forgot for whatever reason. Popped off my head.
I don't recall the third team.
Oh, my bad.
The Dolphins was the one that I was surprised, and that was the one that caught my eye the most.
Well, then obviously I'm the idiot that forgot the team. Oh, my apologies. The Eagles. I got it.
Yeah, the Eagles.
And the Eagles, which of course we know at the moment they have Jalen Hurts. Again, this is a season I'm pretty sure the Eagles are evaluating Jalen Hurts to make sure that Jalen Hurts is their guy moving forward. But for Lamar Jackson to have those three teams on his wish list, I just thought it was very interesting. Again, I know about the Dolphins and Miami connection. I worry about that. The Eagles surprised me a little bit there. But for come out of left field and the Detroit Lions to be that team. Now, not knocking it at all, but I'm trying to figure out what is your motive, Lamar. Are you trying to be literally the best quarterback to ever play for the Lions? I mean, all you got to do is win one Super Bowl. I mean, you achieved that. You are, of course, let's be real, behind Matt Stafford. I would think Matt Stafford holds that crown for the moment for the Lions. For now. Again, for now. But I'm just curious on why the Lions was their team.
I think the Lions is an exciting pick for a quarterback, especially like a Lamar Jackson. When you look at the weapons that they have, they've got Swift at running back. They've got a couple young wide receivers. Don't forget all the picks that they have. Don't forget
Zeke going crazy over there.
Yeah, Zeke is going ham. Don't forget all the picks that they have as well coming up. That's a team that, while they are rebuilding, they do have weapons to make noise. We saw last week they were able to hang in there with the Philadelphia Eagles for a long time. I mean, I think as long as you look at that aspect, Lamar Jackson could help them change that.
As y'all can hear, sometimes on this show, our little minions that we love a bunch like to come and hijack our shows. If you've been on our show lately, you saw, of course, my beautiful daughter came and wanted to talk a little sports. Now, as you can see on the other end, Ish has his well thought out process of football. Mr. Zeke, he knows his football inside and out. He's ready to tote that thing too. And he's trying to let Daddy know, look, Daddy, I'm trying to play some football, and Daddy's not giving the attention right now because we already talking about football to you guys. So soon, hopefully sooner than later, we're gonna get us a studio to where we won't be having to be interrupted by the kiddos anymore. So please just bear with us. Just stay tuned and locked in to XtalknIsh. I promise you, with time, we will get to where we need to be. But we'll go ahead and move on from this game. Again, we'll talk a little bit about it, and then we'll go ahead and move on. Dolphins, Ravens. X has the Dolphins. Ish has the Ravens. Due to Ish being muted at the moment, I'll go ahead and go first until he's ready to go. I went ahead and picked the Dolphins mainly because this is a statement game, I feel as though, for the Dolphins. If you're the Dolphins, you beat the Ravens last year. And let's be honest, I think a lot of people didn't really look at this game as like, oh, they beat the Ravens. Oh, that's a good matchup. I think because at the time where the Dolphins were in the season, they kind of needed to win that game. They won that game, and they were able to turn the season around. But for this week, I think this is a very great test for the Miami Dolphins on both sides of the ball to go up against a team that has the potential maybe to go to an AFC Conference Championship game this season or even a Super Bowl. And the Dolphins are trying to do the exact same thing. So, again, this is a good test for not just the Dolphins, but also the Ravens as well, too. Everybody was able to see what the Dolphins were able to do against a divisional opponent. So let's see how they match up against the Ravens. Ish, you have anything to say about this before we move on?
Yeah, I think the Ravens at home, that's the big difference for me. The Ravens are going to be at home playing against the Miami Dolphins. It's still early in the season. We're still trying to see how this offense plays out for the Dolphins and how they continue to evolve this relationship between Tua and Tyreek Hill. But I think the Ravens, and like I said, when picking them to win the division, I think that as long as they stay healthy, they've got the talent. This team, if we remember back when they were healthy a couple years ago, they had MVP winner Lamar Jackson. That's how good this team was for him to win the MVP. So with him back healthy, the team back healthy, I think that they are a contender in the AFC. And I think that this is a game where a contender in the AFC, you have to win at home, right? It makes a difference when you're playing another team who's looking to make the playoffs, a team that should have made the playoffs the past 2 years. When you're playing them at home, you need to go out there and win. And I think Lamar Jackson and this Baltimore Ravens team, they're going to make a statement. They're going to win at home just to solidify themselves as contenders in the AFC.
I respect it. Got to win your home games in the field. Got to win your home games. Okay, let's go ahead and get to let's go. Since we're already here, we just got done talking about what we just got done talking about. Hi, Zeke. How you doing? Of course, one of our newer segments we have for this upcoming season is called "Don't Be Upset," where we pick our upset picks of the week. And as you just heard, I went ahead and picked the Dolphins over the Ravens. Of course, we'll go ahead and release our week 2 picks after the show's over with. Even though, again, depending on how you look at this game, it might not feel like an upset if the Dolphins beat the Ravens to some people. But when it comes to Vegas, with the Ravens being a 3.5 point favorite, I'm going to go ahead and go with the Dolphins over the Ravens. I think Ish has a very interesting upset pick, so I'm going to go ahead and let him talk about his.
Yeah, my upset pick this week is the Bears over the Packers. I know that they're in Lambeau. Green Bay's at home. I know that the Bears didn't necessarily look convincing last week, but to me, last week I had a gut feeling about it, and I wanted to pick the Bears, and I just didn't because
I felt the same way. I told you in the offseason.
Yeah,
I'll run that clip back. I'll run it back.
Hey, I had that feeling. I was like, man, I should pick them. I'm not really sold on Trey Lance. And I was like, no. The 49ers, they're gonna be able to do it. And it was raining, and the Bears found a way to win. And I just have a feeling about this Bears team. I have a gut feeling. I wanted to pick Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, but I think that those struggles that they're having right now, there may be a little bit something deeper lying under the surface there. And even though they were able to put up numbers last week against Minnesota, and not necessarily numbers on the scoreboard, but just numbers in general, I think the Bears go into Lambeau and they find a way to squeak it out. I think they try to make it an ugly game. They get a couple turnovers because, as you saw last week against Trey Lance and the 49ers, they were able to get back there to the quarterback. They were able to make some noise. And I think they can do that against Aaron Rodgers and maybe get, a fumble or two. Just find a way to kind of keep it ugly, and I think they find a way to win an ugly game, to be honest.
Hey, that's all you got to do is in the fourth quarter, keep it close. You keep it close, at least within one score, maybe 2 possessions, like a 10-point ball game. You might have a chance. I'm not mad at the pick at all. Again, we saw what happened with the Bears last week against the Niners. A lot of people probably wasn't expecting that. We had a gut feeling on that one-ish. We just didn't go ahead and pull the trigger. It is what it is. But for the most part, hey, that's an interesting game to look out for. That, of course, will be our Sunday night football game to look out for. Now, I know, of course, Ish has his mic muted. I want to go ahead and get to the comment section right quick because, unfortunately, I missed this one on our last topic. I want to talk about this right quick. Frashwana says, now Lamar in Tampa Bay next year. Of course, we know we would think hopefully this time Tom Brady's retiring, as he so-called says he is. Could we really see Lamar sliding into that QB1 position in Tampa-ish?
No, I don't really see that. There may be some talks, some people trying to convince him to go there, but I just don't really see Lamar to Tampa Bay. I could definitely see him to Detroit. I could definitely see him possibly to one of these other players, but just not Tampa Bay, unfortunately.
Hey, I agree on that one, but it'll be interesting. We've seen some crazy things happen in the NFL, right? And Fracture One also says, don't be upset when Derrick Henry, my apologies, runs all over the Bills and gets the dub. We'll see. Ain't holding my breath. When you load 9 in the box, it's kind of hard to do that, but we'll see what happens. All right, let's go ahead and get to our next topic for today, and that's, of course, going for 2 ish. Of course, I know we did last week. We did our teams, but it doesn't mean we have to do our teams all the time. Of course, we just pick a team that we feel as though is going to win, and we give 2 points on why they're going to win that game. So, Ish, whenever you're ready. Ish still muted over there.
Yeah, I was looking at it. I think for me, am I going for 2? Honestly, the 2 points for why the Raiders are going to beat the Arizona Cardinals. Number one, I think that that defense of Las Vegas isn't getting the respect that they deserve. And I think that they're going to come out and they're going to shut down Kyler Murray in that offense, especially without DeAndre Hopkins. I just didn't see enough out of that receiving group to say that without DeAndre Hopkins, they're going to do enough to help Kyler Murray. And the second reason why I think that the Raiders going to win that game is just that film study. Kyler Murray apparently didn't watch film. There were just some adjustments that we just didn't see happen. And, unfortunately for him, I just think that they're not doing enough film study, and they should probably put that back in the contract.
Now, as Kyler Murray said, he said, hey, that's disrespectful if you think I ain't out here studying in the craft that all the work and love I put into this craft that I do. How dare you think that I don't study enough? What do you say about that?
Well, as Jason Brown so eloquently put it,
oh Lord, you saw that
on Twitter. Yeah, I would like to see his rebuttal to that.
Interesting. And as y'all can see, of course, Ish had to handle some business. He'll be back shortly. Ish, as y'all can see, we are active fathers on XtalknIsh. We are not just out here just letting our wives just do all of the work. We of course, we're not just podcasters. We're active fathers as well. So who knows? One of these days, when we make millions of dollars, we can just go ahead and pay a nanny to take care of things. But at the moment, that doesn't happen in these households. So we have to, of course, make sure we take care of these kiddos. Fracture One also says, as long as D-Hop is out, Kyler will play like trash. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Certain quarterbacks have their quote-unquote safety nets. Of course, Aaron Rodgers with DeAndre Adams, as we can see now, that's with Derek Carr now. He has, it seems like 3 safety nets with Waller, Hunter Renfrow, and added Devontae Adams. Of course, Lamar Jackson has Mark Andrews, and the list goes on and on. But yes, without DeAndre Hopkins, Kyler Murray looks very pedestrian. And that is a problem because if you are an NFL quarterback, you need to know how to be able to sling that thing, especially if you just got a new, multi-million-dollar contract with $80+ million guaranteed. I'm just saying, But anyway, hey, go make y'all money. I remember back in the day in high school, people talked about, when he was in high school, Kyler Murray, and here in Texas, I heard a lot of talk about how he was the greatest Texas quarterback to ever touch a football field. We'll have to see all about that. All right, my going for 2, I have the 49ers over the Seattle Seahawks. The 2 reasons I have for that is because unfortunately, the Seahawks will have to take the unfortunate ass whooping of the Niners will be bringing from the L that they took from Chicago last week. And usually when a good team loses, they'll of course put all their anger and might into the next opponent, especially if they're a weaker opponent. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Seattle definitely surprised a lot of people last week on how they played. Of course, beating Denver on Monday Night Football with the emotions running high for Russell Wilson. And I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to surprise a lot of teams this upcoming season. And I know I keep saying that about 3 or 4 different teams. But I've said that before the season started that, hey, this season there are going to be some teams that are not going to be, they're not going to be teams that are going to be 4 or 5 win teams. There are going to be some 6, some 7 win teams, and it might be very evened out throughout the rest of the league because of how competitive the league is. Like we'll be surprised if we see a 13 win team this year. Like I think it might only be 1. Like I said, if that, the most wins might be 12. It could be 11. So that's what I'm saying. Like there's a lot of parity throughout the season to where you might see some teams that shouldn't beat this team, but they did. And the 49ers, I think, will take that unfortunate L that they took last week and give it to the Seahawks of this week. And also, again, besides them being upset, there's also number 2, they're playing at home. Hopefully Trey Lance plays a little bit better at home. They don't have to worry about playing in 20 inches worth of rain. and we'll see how this Trey Lance experiment is working for the 49ers moving forward. And we'll go from there. But I at the moment for my going for 2, I have the 49ers.
I don't know if they're gonna give them a butt whipping. We're gonna have to see about that one because I think the San Francisco. I'm still not sold on Trey Lance, man. I'm not.
I got to get them a butt whipping. All I got to do is beat them up by 1 point. That's what I got.
All right.
All right, let me go ahead and move on to one of my last segments, and then we'll, of course, finish up with the rest of the slate for the Sunday day of football. If I was a betting man, of course, this segment is about any type of bets or parlays I would make. Unfortunately, though, not in Texas because apparently we don't like betting in Texas, but we like shooting our guns. Yeah.
You're crazy.
Anyways,
if
I was a betting man, I got Falcons will cover the spread against the Rams. The Rams are a 10-point favorite over the Falcons. Don't get me wrong. I think the Falcons are a perfect team for the Rams to get things back on track. Get things back on track. But like I've said all in the offseason, and I've said last week, do not sleep on the Falcons. The Falcons played well against the Saints last week. They probably should have won the game. They were up by 16 in the fourth quarter, lost the game. But hey, that's nothing new for the Falcons and their fan base. We all know the leads that they give up, and they're not talking about just the Super Bowl.
Why?
It happens time in and time. I mean,
why you got to do that to
low
them,
hanging fruit.
New coaching staff and everything, man.
But that's my point. My point is that they're changing the narrative. They have an opportunity. They're going to probably lose, but I don't think they will lose by more than 10 points. So again, if you want to go make some money, go ahead and put your money into the Falcons covering the spread. I want to go to this over-under that I have at the moment for the Colts versus the Jags. Right now, it's sitting at 43.5. Don't get me wrong. I understand why the over-under is there. The Jags, a little iffy on what they want to do when it comes to scoring. Sometimes they want to score 40 points a game. Sometimes they only want to score 7. Last week they had a decent showing with against the Commanders. The Colts, as we saw last week, started off with the season with the first tie, put up 20 points. I feel as though with this game, besides it being a divisional rival game, they're going to find a way to make points get on the board by wacky ways, either turnovers, pick sixes, something on special teams that doesn't go right. There are going to be points on the board, and I think easily this game will go over and probably hit 50, 52 points easily.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, this isn't. Yeah,
I don't know, man.
This is an easy game. This is an easy game to take over. Again, I could be wrong. But
I think you're wrong. Last year's 2 matchups didn't even hit 50.
Again, that's last year, sir.
I mean, I'm just saying.
And if it did hit, what did it hit? Did it hit over 40? 44?
No. So earlier this year, January 9th, they got total 37.
Okay.
The game before that, the total was 40 on the dot.
And who was that quarterback last year for the Colts?
I'm just saying
40 too.
On the dot.
I'm just saying.
The last 2.
It was the guy that can't even beat the Jags go to the playoffs.
40.
It was the guy that can't beat the Jags go to the playoffs.
And then 42 the game before that.
Okay. And again, this game's
I don't know.
This game's going over.
I tried to hype London up last week, and they didn't.
That's your fault. So I'm that's your fault. They at home.
Until they go play in London.
Points.
No, until they're not at home. They still on the road because they're not in London.
Anyways, Fracture Walnut says, I got the Jags today. Too many key players out for the Colts.
Unless they're playing in London, Fracture Walnut, you crazy. Okay? I tried last week.
We'll see what happens with that. All right, I got a very interesting one because this one's going to segue us into the next our next game for Sunday. I have the over-under 58.5. This is on DraftKings. If you're on DraftKings, this is the over-under for Mike Evans. Of course, if you know the legendary matchup between the Saints and the Buccaneers regarding Mike Evans and Marcus Lattimore, for whatever reason, Marcus Lattimore has Mike Evans' number. Nobody else in the league has Mike Evans' number the way that Marcus Lattimore does. I know Tom Brady is going to go to Mike Evans, and I know he's going to go to him often. But for whatever reason, Mike Evans just does not match up well with Marcus Lattimore. Now, this could go either way. This could either go under 58 and a half, or Mike Evans is going to explode for like 120, and the Bucs are going to win, and I'll be like, God damn. Yep. So I think the Bucs
away from this one.
I think the Bucs struggle with the Saints, and I'm gonna segue into, of course, our picks shortly. But I think the Bucs struggle with the Saints, and they are, of course, in New Orleans for this game. So that is another reason why I have to take the under for this. If you are a betting man, taking the under for receiving yards for Mike Evans. So that, of course, segues us into the Buccaneers versus Saints matchup. And Ish, I'll let you start off with this one.
Yeah, I mean, the Buccaneers versus Saints, this was a very interesting one for me. I just think that the Saints playing at home, even though Tampa Bay won against the Cowboys, it wasn't a situation where it made me feel comfortable about Tampa Bay or made me feel like, oh man, Tampa Bay, here they come again. Honestly, it just made me feel like, they might be all right. Last year, New Orleans, they swept it. They swept it last year, 36-27, the first matchup, and then 9-0, the second matchup in Tampa Bay. But in New Orleans, clearly 36-27. I just think that the Saints, they have the team that they can win this division. They can beat the Buccaneers. I think they are built to kind of fly around and frustrate Tom Brady on the defensive side. And then offensively, Jameis Winston, he's secretly, when he puts his contacts in, or I don't know what's going on the sideline, they're giving him his contacts and then they're taking out his contacts, whatever's going on with his eyes. He has moments like he did early in the Falcons game, and then they put the contacts back in, and to end the game, he just was lighting them up. So I think they're going to make sure that they have multiple sets of contacts on the sideline, and he's going to light Tampa Bay up. I think that he's going to have a really good game. I think that the receiving core for New Orleans, they're going to, make a statement. And I'm hearing Alvin Kamara questionable, but still, I think that New Orleans, for me, I don't see them losing this game.
I'm so happy and proud of you, sir, for coming to the dark side of Jameis Winston and realizing how great of a quarterback Jameis Winston is. Because
I didn't say all that.
I heard it. I heard it, sir. I heard it. No, you can't take it back. Okay. No take backs. I heard it. You said Jameis Winston is the greatest quarterback to ever touch football, and he's going to be MVP of this season. That's what I heard. So with that being said, we can go ahead and end the show right now because no reason to talk anymore. Jameis is the best. No, but on a serious note, I'm happy that you are finally seeing that, hey, besides the Saints having the Bucs number, Jameis and the Saints can be a legitimate NFC contender. And I picked them to win the division. It starts here with this matchup with the Buccaneers and Ish. We talk about all the time. Your divisional matchup, you got to win your home games. This is a matchup that the Saints cannot take lightly. Do what you do regarding you respect Tom Brady, but don't respect him. I know they feel as though, especially Cam Jordan, a lot of folks feel as though like, people feel like you can't hit Tom Brady. No, they're gonna hit Tom Brady. They're gonna make sure that they let Tampa know that they inside of that Superdome. So again, I have the Saints winning, and hopefully, again, this is something that they can build on moving forward. Because of, again, the collective pieces that they obtained over the offseason. I just think it helps tremendously with them moving forward. Fresh One says Saints are 3-1 or 4-0 against the Bucs since Brady got there. I think I got the Saints. Alrighty then. Again, it don't matter what you do in the regular season. Gotta beat them in the postseason. We talk about that all the time, Ish.
Yep.
All right, let me get to this interesting matchup of the day. Main reason why I'm bringing this up because it's, of course, my boy Ish's boy, Mr. Danny Dimes. Now, for me, this was a pick'em, of course. The Giants are just a 1-point favorite at home. But Ish, I want you to talk about this first because We saw, of course, the revenge game that Baker Mayfield had last week. Only lost the game by 2 points. Wasn't like, it was a blowout or anything like that. Overall, how do you view this Panthers team going into MetLife Stadium to play against a team like the Giants that came off of, let's be real, a very big road victory against the Titans? Do you feel as though this game is going to show more about the Panthers or the Giants this game?
I think this game is going to show more about the Giants. The reason why I say that is I don't know that the expectations for the Panthers are that high. Even with Baker Mayfield coming in there, I don't think a lot of people felt like that was a big upgrade over Sam Darnold. We know what the Panthers were able to do last year without CMC there for a majority of the year. CMC is back, but I think last week we kind of saw that it's just not – it's not the same, okay? It's not the same over there in Carolina. They still got a long way to go. And I think that really when you're looking at a New York Giants team with their new head coach, when you're looking at Saquon Barkley being back, this is a make or break year for Danny Dimes. I think that the Giants, this is a big game for them because if they're going to be in the conversation for the NFC East, like I said about the Washington Commanders, you got to go out, you got to win this game. You got to be able to play on top of the league at your home stadium. So at home against a Carolina team that really is kind of trying to figure their way out right now, I think that New York has to make a statement. They got to win this game. They got to win it by at least 7, I think. Not a close one. They need to go out at home and win by at least 7. I think that they will. I think we saw that this Carolina defense, they couldn't stop the run against Cleveland. I know there's a difference with Cleveland and their two-headed monster to the New York Giants, but we saw Saquon Barkley looked a little bit he looked healthy. He looked healthy against Tennessee. And if Saquon Barkley is healthy against a defense like the Carolina defense that couldn't stop the two-headed monster that is the Cleveland run game, man, I think that he's going to have a big day. He's going to ball out against them, and that's going to help out Danny Dimes. And when Danny Dimes gets time back there, when he has help from Saquon Barkley, we have seen that he can throw and run the ball if he has the piece that he needs in the running game. And I think with Saquon back running the ball, it only helps Danny Dimes to run the ball and throw the ball. We saw Sterling Shepard there. The pieces are there in New York. And I think that they go out and win this game at home, make a statement to just say, hey, I know there's a lot of talk about Danny Dimes not being our guy, but he's that guy, all right? He is that guy. And he's going to take us to the promised land.
I respect it. Frank Shawana says, I got Baker this week. He is trying to be the next quarterback of the New York Football Giants.
No, not over Danny Dimes, man. Please, Baker, go sit down somewhere, man. Baker going to be in Dallas.
Oh, Lord.
Backing up that.
Well, let's hope Baker ain't on the football field. Not much longer move for it, but hey, that's just me. Anyway, Frank Shawana says, I wish Ish felt how he feels about Danny Dimes for Trey Lance.
Trey's got to show me something. I mean, Danny Dimes has only been like the leading rusher for the Giants. I don't know how many years running. He's their best runner and best passer.
You already know who the best quarterback in the NFL is, so it don't even matter. That's Kirk Cousins. So I'm going to leave it alone on that one.
Yeah, please leave that one alone.
What I'm just saying. Don't be mad at me, Captain America, out here balling.
Leave that one alone, please. My Eagles going to go ahead and show them a little something this week.
All right, anyways. All right, let's do a little rapid fire. We got to go ahead and wrap up some of these topics before this hour is over with. So we have Bengals and Cowboys. Bengals are a 7-point favorite coming into Jerry World. Of course, we know about Dak and his thumb situation. Cooper Rush gets the start, and of course, Will Grier gets moved up to QB2 ish.
Why are we even talking about this?
Yeah, I know.
Why are we even talking about the Bengals?
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and move on because this one's gonna get ugly. Yeah. This one's gonna get real ugly. I'm just letting you know right now. You want to see a massacre? Go ahead and tune in that game. Might be another massacre as well right here with this one.
I don't think so. I almost picked the Texans one.
Well, I'll let you take it then.
I mean, I looked at it and I saw how they played, and to be honest, no disrespect to Geno Smith, but if Geno Smith was able to go to do what he did against Denver in their defense, I was looking at it and I thought, this is an interesting matchup. Davis Mills and the Texans and Pep Hamilton, especially calling plays for them. I thought long and hard about this one because I do think that they have the weapons and pieces where they can make a little bit of noise and just frustrate Denver a little bit. They can keep the ball away from Russell Wilson with Rex Burkhead and Dameon Pierce. And I think that they can kind of hang around. Really what tipped the scales for me was Denver being at home. There's nothing like playing at Mile High. Also, I do think the way that the Texans gave up a 17-point lead against the Colts kind of speaks to the culture of the team. They just aren't quite there yet. So Denver's going to find a way to win this game, but I don't think it's going to be a massacre. I think that the Texans are going to make it interesting.
Okay. I kind of felt the same way you did regarding this game, and I was going to maybe pick an upset. But with with the Broncos playing at home.
Yep.
With the Broncos coming off a loss last week on Monday Night Football, it was just hard for me to go that route.
Yeah.
Now, I do know that the Texans play well away from NRG. But again, if the Broncos won last Monday, I could see them sleeping on the Texans and the Texans sneaking up on them at home. I could see that. But I'm worried about Russell riding that Bronco into the stadium and throwing 4 or 5 touchdowns this game against the Texans. I don't see it happening, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if Russell Wilson wants to put a statement out there to Denver Nation to let them know. I'm sorry, to Bronco Nation, my apologies, to let them know, hey, we're good. That was just one game. Motion got to me. Let's go ahead and move on with the rest of this season. We have a newcomer to the show, Mr. Brian French. I like the name. He says Denver fumbled 2 touchdowns on the goal line last week. Should have been covered. Now,
very true.
Very true. I like that he brought that up because, I mean, again, that Denver game, that Denver-Seattle game, that probably should have went to Denver. But that's why, look, extra points are not guaranteed anymore like it used to be. Anything on the 1-yard line, giving it to your running back, like a guy like Jerome Bettis or of course Earl Campbell or anything like that is not guaranteed anymore. And we know, of course, the notion around the Seahawks, Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll, Marshawn Lynch, we know that situation regarding passing on the 1-yard line instead of giving a ball off to your running back. So all of that is true, which leads me to the reason why the Denver Broncos go whoop the hell out of the Houston Texans this upcoming game, because I feel as though they have all of that animosity they have going on right now, and they gotta get it out of them. Fracture One also says with the time issues last week, Texans all day. All right, again, it's gonna be it's interesting.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see the play call from Pep Hamilton. I think that Seattle showed what you can do against this Denver defense, but I just think, like you said, Denver coming off a loss on national TV, a game they really should have won. I just think that they're not overlooking the Texans. They're going to be prepared. They're going to be ready to play, and they're going to find a way to win. The Texans are going to make it close for a while, maybe make it a little scrappy game. But at the end of the day, I just don't think they'll be able to hang with them in Denver. If it were in Houston, maybe I might pick the upset.
Because we've got high hopes. We've got high hopes. That's Ish's theme song over there. All right. Yeah. Let's wrap it up with these primetime games, Sunday Night Football. Of course, you've seen us talk about Ish's upset pick of the week. He has the Bears over the Packers. Again, it's a 10-point Packers, a 10-point favorite. So you get a nice little return if you go ahead and put your money on the Bears. If the Bears don't win, you can go ahead and blame Ish for that because he's out here making silly choices, picking the Bears to beat the Packers at home. But hey, if you want to win some money, go ahead and put some down right quick. Monday Night Football, like I talked about earlier, we have 2 Monday Night Football games. We have the Titans and the Bills. Wrong game. Again, we have the Titans and the Bills, and we have, at the moment, we have both teams are the Bills. For me, again, I'll make it short and sweet. When you lose a guy like A.J. Brown and you don't replace him with anybody, and look, I understand Robert Woods. I know Robert Woods. We got okay. When you replace him with a rookie that hasn't proven anything, like Treylon Burks, again, he cool and all, but he ain't A.J. Brown.
They replaced him. Even
with Julio Jones, who can't stay on the field, he's still a threat on the field. And the new receivers we have right now for Tennessee Titans are none of that. So if I'm a betting man, I'm going to not just take the over. I'm taking the over and then some because the Bills are going to beat the Titans by at least 17 points. At least 17 points.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Ish, you got anything to say about
I don't think it's going to be by 17. I mean, I don't think it's going to be by 17. I think the Titans always play the Bills really well. So I think it's going to be a good game, but I know the Bills are going to win.
All right, we shall see. And of course, last game of that Monday night slate. Unfortunately, I didn't get Ish's pick for this, so Ish can go ahead and let y'all know.
Eagles. Eagles. Come on.
Oh Lord, here we go.
Come on, this is my Super Bowl pick. The Eagles. I think
because your Super Bowl pick doesn't mean you gotta pick them for
the Eagles. Eagles at home. Eagles. You can't be the Super Bowl pick and you lose at home.
Hey, that's not true.
You can't lose at home against a team like the Minnesota Vikings, who are a contender. We gotta win this game against a contender to send the message and to stay the front runner in the NFC East.
All right.
Eagles.
I'll finish up with this comment.
No, why y'all keep asking?
That's only fraction one accident.
Asking about Malik Willis. Stop asking about Malik Willis. He's not playing this year unless Tannehill gets hurt. Okay,
I've said it once. I'll say it many times.
Unless Tannehill gets hurt. Malik Willis not coming in. I know y'all saw preseason and y'all were all excited, like, maybe he's gonna take the job. No, he's not taking the job. Okay, they are solidly behind Tannehill. Unless Tannehill gets hurt, they can lose by 50 in this game, and Tannehill will start the next week. Okay?
Yep. And if anybody think that bringing in a rookie over a guy that's been in the league for 9 years now and been to an AFC championship game, been in playoff games, if you think replacing him with a rookie that again hasn't proven anything is going to fix everything, I'm sorry.
Well, guys. to address you saying they need new energy. Yeah, they need new energy, but I don't think that the organization. I don't think the organization thinks at the quarterback position. Like he was complaining about the receivers. I think they may think they need a playmaker at receiver. But not at the quarterback position. They are too set in their mentality, in their mindset, their game plan, that I don't think they believe by bringing Malik Willis in, they upgrade or bring any new aura to that offense that they don't have with Ryan Tannehill. Some people might say the mobility, but to be honest, if you watch Ryan Tannehill, he can move as well.
He can be a wide receiver.
He can do some things as well. So I don't think they feel like that's a huge upgrade there from Tannehill. So that's the only reason why we keep saying, like, unless he gets hurt, they are not going to move on from Ryan Tannehill right now.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap it up today with the the Monday night slate, the second game. Vikings, Eagles. As you can see, Ish has the Eagles. I have the Vikings. I have, of course, Vikings make it to the NFC Conference Championship game. Ish has the Eagles make it to the Super Bowl. So this should be one of the best games, hopefully, of this season. I'm excited too. So it happened earlier in the season. Of course, most of the players should be healthy and ready to go. So there's no excuses on why who shouldn't win this game. Mr. Fractuana says, "Mr. You like that by 14."
Wow.
He said, "Hey, come in your trap, take over your trap by 2 tuggies."
Wow.
That's what he's talking about right now.
That's mad disrespectful.
We'll see what happens. That's again, I like that game. I can't wait to talk about that game on Tuesday. As y'all know, of course, we will recap, of course, Monday Night Football and all the other, of course, games on Tuesday. We did not get a chance to recap Thursday Night Football today because you weren't here, Ish. But it's all good. It's all good. We'll recap it next week. I know you wanted to. I know you probably want to talk
That's
about
all y'all need.
A hell of a game. Mr. Herbie, of course, probably should have pulled that one through, but I'm pretty sure Josh Allen felt the same way. Christine Robichaux says Eagles home opener 2, of course. So it should be there.
Come on. I don't know why all these people picking the Vikings, bro. Y'all are disrespecting the Eagles, okay?
It's gonna be a very interesting game. I can't wait to watch.
I can't wait for it.
So we'll see what happens with that one. All right, as always, we will see y'all next time here at XtalknIsh. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. See y'all on Tuesday, 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern time. Thank you.